The only thing I've ever seen about it is Eric Dubay's video of the new, I think it's the moon over the flat Earth. I think it's what it's called. And he shows an image of what's supposed to be Venus shining through the unlit portion of the moon. And with mine and with Cass Kring's and my research, we found that that was not possible. And then he showed a video of a man pointing out what he believes are stars shining through the lit and unlit portion of the moon, and I personally believe that that is an over-contrasted photograph, and he's looking at dead pixels.
Certain phases of the moon, the rest of the moon and the shadow is visible, whereas in the other phase of the moon, the shadow is not visible. There's nothing there. You see, you understand what I'm saying, Santos?
Yeah, you're saying that when the moon is waxing, you can see through the dark portion of it, but when it's waning, you cannot. It's opaque.
Yeah, I remember which one is which. I always confuse waxing and waning, but when the light is on one side of the moon and you take a camera and look at it and take it out of focus, you can see the rest of the disk of the moon. But then in the other phase, whether it's night or day with blue sky or black night behind it, when that shadow is there, that's when you can see the stars through it. That's when Jupiter has been seen through it, where we get the Islamic symbolism of the crescent and the star, right?
Yep. Yeah, waxing moon is transparent. That portion is transparent. That's why she's more glorious. She's Isis. When she's waning, she's Nephthys, her evil twin sister, and that portion becomes opaque, and you won't be able to see through it.
So she is an actual. That leads credit to the idea that the moon is a projection of that energy, correct? That it is only partially there during those waxing times.
Yeah,
I would have to actually just disagree with you guys about that. I took on that challenge to see if any luminaries or stars could shine through the unlit portion of the moon, and in about 3 different observations that I made, one with the star called Theta Ver, another with the Regal star, and another with the Venus itself during the day, and I believe Cass Kring was the one who actually caught the Venus. But each time the stars were occulted by the unlit portion of the moon, and we weren't able to see them shining through the unlit portion of the moon. Just 2 days ago, Jupiter was occulted by the moon. And the moon is in its I believe it's in its waning period. No, it's in its waxing period right now. It's filling with waxing means it's filling with light. Waning means it's losing light. From due to lunar parallax, I had posted a video of Jupiter just above the moon from where I'm at in Texas. And but if you were in Africa, you would have seen the moon become, or Jupiter become, occulted by the moon, which means Jupiter went behind the moon, while the moon was in it's still a crescent phase, getting close to quarter. So there was an unlit portion of it. About half of it was unlit, and so I don't know. Maybe someone might have, but just the other day, Jupiter, went behind the moon. If you were in the right location due to lunar parallax, you could see it. So that'd be very interesting if someone were to produce an image of Jupiter shining through the unlit portion of the moon, because the only thing I've ever seen about it is Eric Dubay's video of the new, I think it's the moon over the flat Earth, I think it's what it's called, and he shows an image of what's supposed to be Venus shining through the unlit portion of the moon. And with mine and with Cass Krings and my research, we found that that was not possible. And then he showed a video of a man pointing out what he believes are stars shining through the lit and unlit portion of the moon. And I personally believe that is an over-contrasted photograph, and he's looking at dead pixels and confusing them for what he believes are stars to be shining through the unlit portion of the moon. I personally believe the moon is spherical in shape, or at least half a sphere, due to the craters that are visible along the edges of the moon. But I don't think that has any effect on the fact that the Earth is flat. I think there are a lot of flat Earth fallacies about the moon, and about pretty much about a lot of things, and a lot of them are good. And we can't really say one way or another, but some of them are just flat out wrong. Like like if you take like this telescope right here behind me, that camera right there, and look at the moon, whenever a star is about to go behind the moon, depending on your location, the moon, there will be a parallax. Like this guy will see the moon occult the star, but this guy won't. The star will be next to the moon, so lunar parallax. That's also how they determine the distance to the moon, by using lunar parallax, by using the radius of a spherical Earth, and determining it was 250,000 miles away. But if you change that radius, then you change the numbers. You change the first fundamental numbers, and it can branch out to globe Earth, heliocentric, everything we've been indoctrinated with as children. Change those fundamental numbers, and you have flat Earth, 3,000 miles away, 30 miles across. But yeah, as far as anything shining through the moon, I don't believe anything can shine through the moon, just from my observations. But I've only made a few observations in that regard. If anyone could produce any kind of imagery of lights shining through the lit or unlit portion of the moon, I'd love to see that, because the Eric Dubay video of
look on.
moon over the
goes. Just went. Just before 14. Very cool. That is another successful lunar occultation right there.